All right, so maybe you've been running a Google Ads campaign or a Facebook campaign for maybe a couple of months, like I was, and lead cost has gone down, your CTR has gone up because you've maybe eliminated some poor performing ad copy or whatever, and then all of a sudden lead quality just falls off of a cliff and you have no clue why. This video is to help you understand why that happens and how to prevent it or fix it. So my name is Mason DuPree, welcome back to the channel. I'm 24 years old, I'm building my own social media marketing agency while also working full-time in another one. And I just like to make these videos to share my lessons as I'm learning them. And this is one that I ran into when I was running my own SMMA agency in 2024. And it was a huge problem that I just realized one day and my stomach dropped and I was like, oh my God. And I don't want to forget that lesson, and I've run into it a little bit more recently, and I want to make sure that this is something that I talk about because I think it's valuable and it's not something you learn until you get a little bit further down the road in ad spend. But that is offline conversion tracking. Now, when I was running my ads for my agency, I was doing all of the things right. I was putting out new fresh content to try and increase CTR. I was constantly working down the cost per lead. But then all of a sudden, like I said, the lead quality had just tanked. And I actually realized that a lot of this was bot traffic. And so I was like, how did I get here? Why is it that all of my ads are just pushing to bots now? And it was because I wasn't defining to Facebook, or in my case, Google, what kind of quality I was looking for when it came to my leads. So the reason this becomes a lesser known or less talked about topic is because I think most of the realm of digital marketing discusses e-commerce. And e-commerce, like Shopify or dropshipping or whatever, any digital product like that where you can swipe a card after 30 seconds of seeing an ad, is usually an immediate conversion that can be tracked via pixel. And the customer sees the ad, goes on the landing page, and within 5 minutes puts in their credit card information and that conversion happens. When that happens, Facebook is alerted of it and basically says, or Google, and is alerted of it and basically said, okay, that was a good customer. We need to make more like that. Because they really are trying to work in your best interest, and 60% of your campaign performance is up to AI and algorithms, not your actual settings. The struggle becomes when you are running lead gen for businesses that have longer closing cycles. I've talked about this with real estate in other videos like I was doing before, or in other smaller transaction windows. Maybe it could be a week, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. Those are not immediate conversions. They're called offline conversions. And it's still very important that you report back to Facebook and Google who converted, who was a good quality lead, and for how much did they convert so they can track ROAS. One, I've talked about this in another video, when it comes to attribution, you want to be tracking ROAS just for your own understanding of the campaign's success. But at the same time, if you feed back the data to these platforms, then they're gonna have a better understanding of who was a good customer, who made it all the way through the funnel, who actually converted for this business, and how much did they convert for? How much did they bring in? What was the ROAS on that customer? And then they're able to actually better target and maintain quality. But if you never report that quality standard basically back to them, then you're never going to actually maintain it. And over time, more and more bot traffic will slip in, and it will actually train your algorithm to target cheaper bot traffic that quote unquote converted because your pixel said so. And unfortunately, it just tailors your algorithm towards low quality traffic. So how do you fix this? So if you're in this scenario right now, or if you're not doing offline conversion tracking in your lead generation agency or business, then what you need to do is immediately disable whatever it is that is communicating every single conversion back to Google. So if you've got, it's common practice to attach a pixel or whatever or Google Tag Manager to a lead form submission. But if you communicate every single lead form submission back, then that's where that bot traffic can come in and start to tailor your algorithm in the wrong direction. So keep your ads where they are. Don't change any of the settings, don't refresh them, whatever, just leave them as they are. Immediately disable the pixel that is communicating back to that system every single conversion that happens, and instead change it to where you are self-reporting, either fully automated or just manual for now, the conversions that you liked. So if you start to see that out of 50 leads, 30 of them were actually really good, just take the 30 that were good and communicate them back. Now each platform has a unique way of doing this. With Google, I think it's with Google Click ID, and you can actually just add a hidden form submission line inside of your form that can then capture the Google Click ID from the URL that person is sent to after clicking your ad. And then once you've copied that down, you can then report it back to them via somewhere in their backend settings. I don't know exactly where it is, but I've done it before. You can set this up to be automated. It depends on what your criteria is for defining whether or not that traffic was good quality traffic or not. But just after this point going forward, just start to communicate back to Google the good conversions. And if you can, split it into primary and secondary. So for Google particularly, you have primary and secondary conversions. A secondary conversion, a good example of one, would be just a lead form submission. A primary conversion would be someone actually selling or buying whatever it is this service provides, right? So in this scenario, whatever that closed transaction time is, basically report back ROAS, or the revenue generated, and that it actually became a customer, right? That's your primary conversion. And then your secondary conversion would be lead form submissions. And that's because lead form submissions actually do lead to more customers, but they are not the primary indicator of what is a good customer. A good customer is one that pays. And so that's why that is a primary conversion, and a secondary conversion would be a lead form submission. Once you start communicating this information back to Facebook or Google or whatever platform you're using, the algorithm will start to then retrain itself and will probably raise your cost per lead in the short term. Your CTRs actually may improve still, and you're actually gonna hit better quality leads that are actually gonna get you more conversions, more traction, and more customers, which means more revenue, especially if you're working for clients. And it'll stop wasting ad budget, because these are PPC conversion campaigns. If you're paying per click and bots are clicking on your thing, then you're wasting ad spend on bot clicks, which is obviously not optimal, which could make up for the difference in the raised cost of cost per lead that you'd end up experiencing after you've adjusted basically your quality metric that you've now defined for Facebook and Google. Now, I know that's a bit complicated and heavy, but I really wanted to share that because it does take some time for the errors for this algorithm to work its way down into the low quality traffic. It's much better to have this right from the get-go than it is to be stuck in that rut and have to build your way back out. Instead, if you just start off where you are baseline and then can continue to maintain that baseline by converting or communicating those conversions back, it will help your campaign significantly, it will maintain quality for you, and you're gonna get better results, and whether it's for yourself or for your client. Yeah, I just wanna make that video. It came up. It's a little pain in the ass that doesn't really show up for a lot of people, but if you're in lead gen, you need to be able to do offline conversion tracking and make sure that you are communicating with Google or Facebook what kind of lead you want so that it can continue to optimize for lead cost without sacrificing quality. Anyway, that's my video for today. I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much. If you made it to the end of the video, please leave a like, a comment. I answer every single comment that gets posted, and obviously subscribe. That helps the channel out a ton. But I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks. All right, bye.